Okay, we would like to say welcome to another lesson number 10 at the university, where everyone will earn a PhD, excuse me, will earn a PhD in the system of racism, white supremacy, where there are no big I's or little U's, where we have no priest class, where everyone is a professor and a student. So we're going to get right to it. We're going to announce the topic for today under the system of racism, white supremacy. The topic is Black Lives Matter, Black Parents, and Killing. That's the topic for the day. So we want everybody to get out their pen and paper. And as we talk, we want to remind people to please hit the share button and the like button so we can continue to subscribe, so we can continue to get the message out on the system of racism, white supremacy that being plaguing our people for over 500 years now, over 500 years. But we see the system is making moves. We see people are catching on too. Now we have more people describing racism, white supremacy. They use the term systematic, which comes from the term system. Well, we want to make this clear in the beginning, and we should never forget it. Mr. Neely Fuller was the first human being on the planet to describe racism, white supremacy as a system. The very first. And he began doing it, writing about it in 1953. Now, he's in his 90s now, slowed down a lot, but he's still trying to write. I hope that he is conscious, seeing the change that he brought forward. It was Mr. Neely Fuller. Most people don't even know the man that ever lived. Most people don't even know he exists on the planet. But he is the one. It wasn't any scholar. It wasn't anybody that's always on the TV, radio, or it wasn't anybody that thousands and thousands of people will have gone and heard speak. It was Neely Fuller, who worked as a security guard in Washington, D.C. at the Bureau of Engravement, where they engrave money. It was him. So I think that fathers the line that we don't have any big eyes or little eyes and big U's. So without any delay, as usual, we will describe the system of racism, white supremacy, and then get into the subject matter. Then get into the topic, which of course comes under racism, white supremacy. And the topic again is Black Lives Matter, Black parents, and killing. So we have three main textbooks in form of humans that we listen to that have wrote, lectured, answered questions on racism, white supremacy in some form or another. And these three textbooks, Imam W.D. Muhammad, Mr. Neely Fuller, and Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, most of the all three of these people are very low key, but absolutely profound. Absolutely, absolutely. They probably have they have done the work that has been so important that their work has to be viewed as the most important work in the 20th and half in the 20th century and the first half of the 21st century. We must view their work like that because it's absolutely important. And I advise those who can hear me to go out and listen to those three, what we would call them scholars, and we study them as if they were a textbook, showing us the right way to go and how to view things and get the best result. I know of no other three that I could point to that's don't want the limelight, don't want people to praise them, but constantly trying to lift Black people up and don't get much thanks for it at all. At all. So here's the definition of racism, white supremacy, as it is defined by the university. Racism, it was first defined by Mr. Neely Fuller. Racism, white supremacy is a worldwide system for the genetic survival of those people that are classified as white. Let me say that again. Racism, white supremacy is a worldwide system of domination for the genetic survival of those people that are classified as white. It has patterns of control in speech, thought, system formation, action, and emotional response. It moves in 10 areas of human activity: education, entertainment, economics, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, war, and health, for the ultimate goal of the survival of the genetic material of those people that classify themselves as white. That's the definition. That's how it moves. Period. Absolutely. Period. And here are some of the stops or the steps towards freedom. Some people just simply say, here are some of the solutions. And they've been with us all the time. All the time. Stop lying to each other. Stop fighting each other. Stop killing each other. Stop robbing each other. Stop using drugs. Stop snitching on one another. Now we find ourselves that we have to stop here and let people know what snitching means. Turning someone in to authorities for your own political and or economic gain. Now, authorities can be FBI all the way down to the homeowners association president. You turning someone in to authorities for your own economic or political gain. In other words, here's an example. I know this brother Cornell, and he's spent a great deal of his life fighting for justice, and he's still that way. But some people thought that he was taking advantage of people, so they brought him in front of a community court. Now, a lot of the people that were on the community court at that time was legitimate, but some were not, because they questioned him, talked about him, and turned around doing and have done the same thing that they accuse him of doing. Turning someone in for your own political and or economic gain. That's snitching. And that's exactly the example I gave you. Here I am. I'm stealing too. I'm stealing. And here another person come turn me in so he can get on the corner and steal. Well, they did that to Cornell. I wouldn't say either group was stealing, but they thought he was stealing. So one group turned him in to the DA, the Harris County DA. And members of that group turned around doing the same thing he doing the same thing they accused him of doing. Snitching. Stop snitching on each other. Stop using drugs. That includes cigarettes also. We know racism, white supremacy has patterns and control in health. Stop using drugs, alcohol, pharmaceuticals, uppers, downers, heroin, and the list crack, the list goes on. Stop making our young children think that they can produce and maintain a family before the male is 35 and the female is 30. Because they cannot. They will soon find themselves overwhelmed with stress. Because when the baby gets here, they're going to still want to party. And she would say, I'm going to send this baby over my mama's house. I'm going to go to the game, the party tonight. Then the next week, still want to party. So we're going to send it to the auntie's house. Then send it to the cousin's house. By the time you do all that to the baby will be good and crazy as hell. And the male that want to duck the responsibility, he'll say, shit, that baby ain't none of mine. Do not make our children believe that they can maintain a family before the male is 35 and the female is 30. And what you're going to be doing before you're 30 and 35 is getting all the education you possibly could get. If you are qualified to go to college, you're going to keep going till you get a PhD or become a doctor or a lawyer. If you qualify to be a brick mason, you're going to keep going till you qualify to get a certificate in master brick masonry, master electrician, master plumber. These are the steps that we're going to do. These are what we should be doing. We should grab a hold to our children and tell them that while they are young. Don't wait for them to get old and all other kind of voices have been talking to them. Now here you come. Because if you do, it's a wrap. Okay, those are the steps. And the last one, I'm sure there are more. But lastly, stop acting like racism, white supremacy does not exist. Because it does exist. And the more we deny racism, white supremacy, saying it does not exist, the denial of its existence is essential to the maintenance of the system. Absolutely. So when we deny and say, I ain't gonna listen to Brother Ali, I done heard all that stuff before, and I don't listen to that. That's not real anyway. Well, no, every time you do that, every time you say racism, white supremacy is not real, it does not exist, you are only giving maintenance to the system. You are helping the system to adjust itself. That's what you're doing. So we gave you the definition. We gave you the answers to what we should be doing to make countermeasures. If we do that, here's another one. If we send our blue chip athletes, Junior, not to Texas A&M, well, they don't go there much anyway, but not to Alabama, not to LSU. If we send those big blue chippers, for example, like from North Shore, they go to Prairie View, Texas Southern, Howard, that will send shockwaves to the system of racism, white supremacy. That's exactly what that would do. It would send shockwaves. Just like, you remember this, during the 60s, the protest marches, and the system would take weaponized dogs that they didn't turn into weapons, and sick the dogs on the people. And the people would still come out with suit and tie on, get up on, hit them in a brick, hit them in the head with a brick. They'll still get up, put their hat back on, and keep marching. Well, the system can't tolerate that. That sends shockwaves. They said these people are still trying to be dignified. After we didn't put the water holes on them, we didn't turn Bull Corner loose. It was Bull Corners all over the country. We didn't turn Bull Corners loose all on. Somebody said that the other day, Hitler, he know he ain't supposed to be saying nothing good about Hitler. Well, they had a whole bunch of Hitlers here and still have them. We didn't turn Bull Corner and Hitler loose on them, and these people still walking dignified. What can we do to these people? This is what the system said. So after they killed one of the number one leaders, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, so forth, and many other people, trying to disrupt the movement, trying to cause chaos in the movement. That's what the system did. Now here comes the 80s. Man, after we didn't put them, this is the system, says after we didn't put them through all of that, here they are still saying, what's up, brother? They saying, what's up, brother, now? They saying, we love each other. So, brother, we love you, brother. They coming with a new look, big afros, and throwing off the yoke of colonialism all over Africa. We have to do something. And at that point, Junior, here comes drugs, heroin. You remember that. And then crack after that. The system will make maintenance on itself. It will make maintenance on itself. Absolutely, Junior. Medgar Evers. That's one. The system will make maintenance on itself, and it will cause you, if you do not know and understand it, to be confused. So the topic is today, Black Lives Matter, Black parents, and killing. There were questions, I see questions a lot over the Facebook, and in having conversation with people and listening to other people saying, Black Lives Matter, that's of course, you know, Caucasians would call them a terrorist group. And they got one brother who, he's a movie star, Terry something, whatever his last name is. He's supposed to act, well, I'll leave that part alone. Terry, whatever his name is, he's Black. He came out against Black Lives Matter very strongly. They propped Muhammad Ali Jr. to come out against Black Lives Matter strongly. That's to influence other people. And Black Lives, yeah, Terry Crews, I think that's what that says. Yes, thank you, Junior. To come out against Black Lives Matter. And Terry said that the reason why Black Lives Matter shouldn't exist, well, one of the reasons he said, because they're really saying black lives are better than any other life. Just coming up with anything. But this is the one that I hear a lot. This is the excuse to dislike Black Lives Matter, to have Black people. But we don't see that as racism, white supremacy, because it has, at this point, it's refining itself in this particular conversation. When people say, does Black lives really matter? Or are they a terrorist group? Or are they saying that everybody else's life don't matter? That's when you hear that, you know that you're hearing racism, white supremacy refine itself. So to the point that you don't even see racism, white supremacy. You see two Black people arguing about, does Black lives matter? What? That's what you see. That's because of the system of racism, white supremacy. You see, when we finish, just look at the Facebook. One brother wants you to explain why we have to have Black Lives Matter. Then another person would say, well, every lives matter. All lives matter. Then you get another group of people saying blue lives matter. Ain't no blue life. That's a blue shirt they may have on. Like this is a gray shirt. But those are tricks, schemes to throw you off guard. But the biggest one is this one, as it relates to Black Lives Matter. If Black Lives Matter, why don't they say anything about the killing in Chicago, the killings in Chicago? Now, you know what? If you do not understand racism, white supremacy, and know exactly how it works, that sounds logical. But it's really not logical. The whole question just on its face is damn near retarded. This is why. When Martin Luther King was walking the planet, the organization was built to respond to the mistreatment of Black people by this society, i.e. white people. Mistreatment by being attacked, churches being bombed, not having sufficient schools, poor people, not being able to vote, that was like number one. But who in the world would go to Fatty Lou Hamer Jr. and say, hey, look, now y'all know black people were killing each other doing then. I guess we know that. I'm just assuming, Terry Crews, we know that black people were killing each other then. But who in the world would go to Martin Luther King, Fannie Lou Hamer, Medgar Evers, and say, hey, the organizations that you're representing, Mississippi Democratic Party, NAACP and the like, they are no good because you're not addressing black people putting straight edge razors on each other and cutting each other up. Since you're not addressing that strongly as you are addressing the right to vote, then you should be thrown away and not looked on as a legitimate organization. That's what Terry Crews said. He think he said that, but the system of racism, white supremacy said. And you'll see the same thing among people on Facebook. They say the same thing. That's because they do not understand the system of racism, white supremacy. They do not. And when that happens, when you do not understand the system and exactly how it works, know that you will be confused. And that's exactly what is going on. So take the position, black people. Now, white people was taking the position. Yeah, no Black Lives Matter. It shouldn't be Black Lives Matter. All lives matter. All lives matter. Well, that's what it's saying. All lives matter. And then we'll take the position that if Black Lives Matter don't speak out against the shooting in Atlanta that killed the little baby boy, then Black Lives Matter is not legitimate. And we take that position. We're getting mad at Black Lives Matter instead of the system that produced the person to self-hate, to kill and shoot indiscriminately, killing whoever that bullet hits. Now we know. Now we know. So it shouldn't be any more confusion on that. And those who know should teach someone else. No, we're not gonna say Black lives don't matter because they're not speaking out against the shooting in Chicago. And the system itself will come up with a term like this to even Black self-respect. They call it black on black crime. What? What is that? I never heard anybody say Vietnamese on Vietnamese crime, white on white crime. So how did someone say black on black crime? Because black people hold the largest threat to the system of racism, white supremacy. So we know the system has patterns of control in speech and language, emotional response, and action. But when you don't understand the system, you will come on Facebook and start saying black on black crime. Explain that. Well, now I just did. There's no such a thing. Like I never heard any, I may have heard it once in response to black on black crime. I mean, I may have heard it once on TV. Once. I'm 55. Once. Out of Junior, how many times you heard the system say white on white crime? It's I only heard it once, if then. It's so rare that the term white on white crime doesn't even exist. It does not exist. In terms of a term, but you don't have no limit on how many times. There's no limit to the number of times that you have heard black on black crime. And we carry that. Black people carry that message. We're said at church. We're said at in the political arena. Well, we got to do better. We turning on ourselves. It's black on black murder, black on black crime. Our politicians are saying, as if black people ain't always fought each other and cut each other up with knives even before I got here. Like this is a new phenomenon. Yeah, we've been doing that. And this is the reason why. When life has no value, when the system of racism, white supremacy has no value. I mean, when the system of racism, white supremacy puts zero value on human life, especially black human life, nothing has value. But that don't escape white people, though. That hits them, too. So that's why a white boy can go into a Columbine and just start shooting up everybody there, because life has no value. That nobody said, well, that's a white on white crime. Nobody got mad with with Fox News. Nobody called for the destruction of the NRA. But when a black person shoots each other, let's do away with Black Lives Matter. It's a trick. So we want to take ourselves seriously. And at the same time, drive us insane. So it wouldn't take nothing for somebody to go out, pull a gun, shoot up a whole house, and kill a little baby. Because life itself has no value. And when that occurs, when life has no value, nothing has value. Nothing. So over the weekend, a particular weekend, you can get 35 people shot in Chicago. Yeah, Dylan Roof killed 9 people in a church in South Carolina. Nobody, we damn near forgot about him. We almost forgot about Dylan Roof. But that's why this society produces Dylan Roofs, that person that did Columbine, the president of the United States, can come on TV and constantly lie as if he was cutting a slice of cake on a constant basis and get people to lie for him, because life has no value. Under the system of racism, white supremacy, it has no value, especially black life, but every other life also. So you can get a soldier who was missing for months on an army base. And I've been on that base when I was younger. But now I'm sure they have cameras all around that base, just like they have everywhere else. And never said a word about that young, beautiful sister getting slaughtered like that until a pressure was put on her. Just right out slaughtered. But life has no value. Why? Because the system of racism, white supremacy says so. And when life has no value, nothing has value. So people in California, Chicago can get shot up. The little brother yes, Sister again. The little brother in Atlanta can get shot up, murdered, and the black boy running down the street with a damn rifle in his hand. And they took his picture with all them cameras. Like, cameras are all over Harris County. They everywhere. But who cares? Like, I don't care. So life don't have no value. I can go and shoot up people because nothing else we do has value. It's a boxing fan, white supremacists in a white country who had thought of it. I don't know what they're saying. I was just reading something someone was trying to say on YouTube. But those are the reasons. Those are why killings are going on. Mass murder all over the country. And it's also the reason why this system is trying to get Black people to frown on the Black Lives Matter movement. Because they are trying to confuse us. Yeah, they're trying to confuse us. But if you don't understand the system, you will be confused. And like we just stated about Black Lives Matter, we made a comparison to SCLC, the movement under Dr. Martin Luther King. They had killings going on. People were fighting and pulling razors on each other, straight edge razors on each other, cutting each other up. Well, did anybody say, hey, Martin Luther King, your movement is illegitimate because you ain't talking about that brother who slaughtered that another brother in Louisiana at the bar? Or we won't stop and think how silly that sounds. It sounds silly to this level. It sounds silly to this level. If you have a psychiatrist who is a psychiatrists are medical doctors, but you tell the psychiatrist to put an end to his or her practice because she's not addressing tumors in the stomach. What? That's not what she organized her practice to address. That's not what Black Lives Matter organized that movement to address. It was organized to address the brutality of police officers on Black people. Now you know. Now you know. Now, parenting. Under the system of racism, white supremacy, we should become even stronger parents. In the Holy Quran, not in the Holy Quran, but in the Hadith, the example of the Prophet, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, it tells us to whisper into the newborn baby ear that, for example, there's no God but Allah, Muhammad is his messenger. Or whisper the Dan in his ear. That's the opening to the Quran. Whisper that in his ear. Or whisper the call to prayer in his ear. You know what I say? Whisper that. and then whispered, I'm your parent. You are to obey me. And when you get ready to go to college, don't look at that college to teach you about what a man is. You see a man in this house. This is what we should tell our children. Don't come back here twisted up with some twisted idea, think that a man puts on a dress. A man goes out and have as much sex as he possibly can. You see the man in this house and tell him don't waver from that. Tell our children that when they are babies and don't stop telling them. They ain't gonna understand, right? You're right. They're not gonna understand when you tell them that when they're babies, but in time they will. But if you leave your children, we're talking about being a black parent under the system of racism, white supremacy. We got to be strong. We got to leave nothing up for chance. Tell them exactly how they are supposed to behave under all social circumstances. Because if we don't, we'll get a brother or a sister to shoot inside a house and kill a baby. That's how it happens. Somewhere along the way, the parents did not do what they were supposed to do. In most cases. Some cases, no. Some cases, the boy just goes straight. But if we stay on them at every turn, don't give them a break. I mean, a break in having an idle mind. If they have done one task, then give them another task to do. If they have mastered playing a piano, then you buy another instrument. Hey, now play this. If they have watched somebody play basketball and the whole neighborhood is playing basketball, you put them in an even more, basketball is difficult too, but you put them in an even more difficult sport. Now you do this, which is going to consume a lot of his time or her time. You direct them the way you think they ought to go. Don't leave that up for nobody to do. Because when God called the roll, he ain't going to ask the school teacher, hey, why did little Ali turn out that way? He going to ask me, say, why did little Ali kill them people like that and breaking them houses? Is it because you was out there just laying up in the bed not doing nothing? Or just had him in front of a TV and not giving him any instructions? Imam Muhammad told us and tells us through his writings and through his audio tapes, Walaikum Assalam, Raouf, and through his audio tapes, take control of our children's life. You take control of their life when they're young, because if you wait and try to do that when they're old, it's too late. I know cases right now. Grown men can't even tell you where the back door is to their own house and what's the proper door to go through. Right now. And that's a shame. Right now. So, again, we as parents have to take strong effort to defeat those who trying to defeat and take our good life away from us through our children. Tell them that this is the way we view God. We don't need the university trying to tell us how to view God. We can get that at the house. Yeah, we'll get that at the house. Because it is the parents' responsibility. Don't say, hey, man, you finna go off to college now, drink all the alcohol you can stand. We ain't gonna say it like that. But we say it like this. Look at me on Facebook. I just came to Red Rooster. I'm gonna get my drink on. Or I sit at a table. This is us. Just look at Facebook and just go through it. If you don't believe me, just look at some of your friends and just stroll through Facebook. We'll sit at a table like this and we'll have Jack Daniels, whatever, Bacardi, any other kind of liquor, have it all over the table. That ain't going to escape our children. Our children going to pick up on that. And that's what we're teaching them. So they begin to drink alcohol. They begin to go astray. But you don't give them no excuse. This is our position. We're not drinkers of alcohol. We're not drinkers and having a whole bunch of children without the benefits of marriage. In other words, we don't play around with sex here. Because if you play around with sex, tell them this. Now you start telling them this when they're a baby. Man, yeah, when they're a baby. Actually, when they're in the womb. Because education of a child starts when the sperm drop meets the egg. That's from Dr. Francis Cress Wells. Education of a child starts when the sperm drop meets the egg. That's the position we should take. So when your wife is sitting up looking at TV or sitting in a chair reading a book and she's pregnant in all of her beautiful glory, you talk to the baby. That baby hear you. Talk to her from day one. And don't waver. Do not waver from that. Let people, don't fear the criticisms of the criticizers. I can understand now why my daddy, hey, brother Clyde, I can understand now why my father didn't allow me to do certain things, didn't allow me to ride in the car with certain people in the neighborhood. Couldn't spend the night at their house because of this. One day I went to a friend's house. I'm not going, for the sake of embarrassment, I won't tell you. I had many friends in the neighborhood, but I went to a particular friend's house and I went around the back as usual to knock on the door or could see could they come out and play. We were like 8, 7, so forth. Guess what their parents had them doing? And this is no joke. I looked through that kitchen door and they was in there drinking beer at 8 years old. 8 years old. So if we don't think we can be eliminated off the planet, just keep doing what we're doing. We have to adjust ourselves. We have to adjust ourselves. And don't stop trying to do that which is correct. Now, the last topic, killing. This racism, white supremacy is a culture of death. It is a culture of killing. A young man, it was rather disturbing. He was walking to the beach with his friends. Y'all seen it. And somehow he said he was attacked by 5 crazy ass white men. He said the white man said, "You walking on our property." Now he had some other friends with him, but they just, I guess I imagine he probably was the only black one among his other friends. And they tied him, they were trying to tie him to a damn tree. And the picture showed that he was on his knees. Well, I'm not Bruce Lee or Muhammad Ali, but if you, number one, don't go nowhere by yourself. There are people that don't look like you. Because if you don't know what time it is, where you are, and who you are insane. And you can go with a group of people and none of them people look like you. And when something go down, your ass gonna be the one on the tree or trying to get put on a tree. And the second part of that is go out fighting. Ain't no more pleading. You see them people coming for you, position yourself to defend yourself because you are in a culture of killing. That's what this system is. And when you survive, or if you survive physically, don't come on TV talking about you were just scared. You didn't know what to do. You know what to do. God put in you what to do. I'm going to tell you this story. We're going to bring it to a close. The great producer is knocking at the door, saying, "We got to close the building." Nick Strong trying to jump out the damn window. Somebody close the window. You know what to do. We don't have to spell it out, Brother Junior. We know what to do. I was walking to this is when I got bused to that white school. I was in I think 4th grade. And I had to walk from the McGregor Park area past Wine Gardens. I think that school called Hartsville. Y'all know where it is. I know Junior probably knows, some of you others. Past Montgomery Ward, excuse me. Montgomery Ward used to be on MLK. And it was thunder and lightning. And I said, well, when I get over there, I'm just go over so-and-so's house. Some cousins of mine. Because I know they ain't going to school. So it was raining real bad. And I just went over their house because I knew the bus wasn't going to come. And a little kitten, Brother Darrell Jackson, started to follow me. A kitten. You know what to do when danger comes. And not a cat, but a kitten started to follow me. You playing his music. Go ahead. Started to follow me. And I'm trying to tell the kitten to go away. Yeah, go ahead. I'm trying to tell the kitten to go away. The kitten kept following me. Seemed like a half a mile. And I knew my cousin them had a big old German Shepherd. And that kitten followed me all the way to that backyard. I'm going to the backyard and get in the house because the back door would be open back there during those times. and that dog came around there, you know what that kitten did? He didn't stand there act like he didn't know what to do. That kitten defended itself, and that's a damn kitten. Oh God, please have mercy on us, and let us not go astray after you have guided us aright. Let us please God, take the fear out of our minds and bodies. Have mercy on us and guide us always. Amen. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for another good day.